Nimbus is a roguelike platform shooter that can get quite frantic at times, but never quite as bad as the bullet-ridden monstrosities that Galaga-style games can become. It was brought to us by Vivo Games and Team 17 in July 2020. I played this on an Xbox One X wearing a Turtle Beach Stealth 600 headset while using a 27-inch 4K HDR monitor. In this game, you run around the screen shooting baddies and collecting power-ups. You control a character, one of what will eventually be many choices, who moves from room to room clearing them as they go. The rooms are bigger than a single screen, some more so than others, so there's a screen scrolling going on. As a roguelike, death is expected and delivered. The game changes with each foray, and some choices carry forward as well. There are a few minigames, though I found that playing them turns into a bit of a distraction from achieving the basic game goals, and never got as deep in the dungeon when I spent time on them. The game has a very cyberpunk feel to it with neon highlights throughout. The art style and gameplay fit very well together. The visuals are reminiscent of the late Super Nintendo era, but with the polish of the PlayStation and GameCube days. There's definitely a hint of pixel art, but there are also smooth glows, reflections, and similar visual candy. It looked great on the monitor, even though 4K wasn't explicitly called out as a feature on the game's store page. The game's soundtrack is very dance party feeling, matching with the neon lighting and cyberpunk look. It's not obtrusive and dynamically adjusts in volume so as not to interfere with the action on the screen. The game is normally $20 but is down to $18 while in Gamepass. There is a DLC pack which contains 2 new playable characters, normally at $2 but again down to $1.80 for Gamepass subscribers at the time of this recording. Speaking of Game Pass, I try to record reviews for all Game Pass games that get quests attached to them. I cover the game, getting the quest, 5 dislikes and 5 likes. Every person who subscribes down below makes it easier for me to get these out in a timely manner. This game's quest was to get 3 achievements. I struggled with this at first, but after dialing the difficulty back to easy, got them within about 20 minutes. The game has a story. Something about defeating evil gods? I don't know. It doesn't really have an effect on gameplay. There are multiple characters to choose from. They have different strengths and weaknesses, and who you choose will affect how the game plays out for you. I mentioned earlier that I had to change the game from normal to easy for the achievements. The game was getting frustrating to me in normal, and became fun when I switched to easy, so this seems like a good move. If you don't have a lot of experience with this gameplay style, or if it's been a few years, then you may want to turn down the difficulty and just have some fun. The controls are simple. Moving with one stick and shooting with the other brings out the dual-stick shooter nature of the game. The other functions, throwing a grenade and jumping, are simple button presses and you can easily move, jump, and shoot all at once. The gameplay loop is pretty standard for a roguelike. Get as far as you can, your character getting stronger along the way, before dying. Then start over at the top. While going down the dungeon, you'll enter a room, clear out baddies, get power-ups, and move to the next room. A few minigames exist to break up the shooting, but they are entirely optional. This includes a room where you pretend to be Tom Hanks in Big and play a giant piano, a room where you do a button press game to simulate a dance party, and a room you can fish in, among others. As a roguelike, this game has great replay value. The plethora of weapon and item combinations, as well as randomly generated dungeons, keep every playthrough fresh, and there are even multiple characters to play as to mix it up more. Whether you want to get all the achievements or not, you'll be entertained as you go through over and over again. If you like this review style, then make sure to like the video and YouTube will start to bubble them up a little bit more for you. If you don't like it, drop me a note and tell me why. This game started out really hard for me. This would have been okay, but it wasn't immediately clear to me how to make the game easier. Once I finally figured that out, the game got better, but had it been more clear from the start, it would have been better from the start. The story in the game is less than a side note. As a lover of story, I need to call that out, though I don't have much of a solution for it in this case. You need to pick up weapons and items to know what they do in this game. While this is generally not a problem, there are times where you have to visit a store and decide whether you want to purchase an item or not, without knowing what it's going to do. There is a mechanic concerning the use of crystals and damage that is not very well explained in the game at all. This can be attributed to the roguelike nature and emergent gameplay if you would like, so you may not consider this a true dislike. Finally, and if I'm being honest, it's probably cheating to list this in dislikes, the fast-paced and constant changing nature of the game makes the one more time syndrome very strong in this one. I'll start the likes with the fast-paced and constantly changing nature of the game. It is what gives the game such great replayability. The simple controls will be easy for anyone to master in a very short time, opening up the gameplay to a wide audience. The inclusion of an easy difficulty furthers this mission, and I find it hard to believe anyone that considers themselves even a casual gamer would struggle with this game over time. The visuals and sound in the game enhance the experience greatly. The music specifically does a great job of fading into the background so as not to interfere with the action, but coming back up front to prevent the game from feeling empty. It should come as no surprise to anyone that I feel this game is a solid buy. If I'm still playing this regularly when it's announced as leaving Gamepass, I'm certainly going to be paying for it myself. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you want to help me get these reviews out faster, and I'll see you on the next one.